From the front lines of the information war, it's Alex Jones.
Coming up, your phone calls throughout the hour. You agree, you disagree, any of the subjects I covered. I just want you to be a first-time caller with an Ayatollah, a rock and roller connection. Or maybe it's the GCN box. It's just the phone system may need to be revamped. It's just been more and more scratchy, more and more. I'm not mad at GCN, but our phone system's digital and better. I may just start taking all calls here. 800, and Scott's doing a wonderful job up there. I don't want to put them down. It's just something's going on. 800-259-9231. 800-259-9231 is the toll-free number to join us. 800-259-9231. Okay. Let me hit on this first because I just mentioned it. And then I'm going to go to break, come back in the next long segment and take calls. And then I'm going to get into CNN caught bullying and committing crimes to get people to recant their political views or they'll expose them on television. True bullying by its very nature. Coercion violates New York law where CNN engaged in the activity. Also federal law. But I don't always go at CNN. I don't go with Wikipedia. I actually go to where they say the research came from, and then you go research if that's true or not. Because CNN won't lie about a car wreck or a police shooting or a plane wreck or the weather. It'll just be on certain political things. People say, well, if CNN's fake news, why are you reporting it? Because CNN then proves themselves in this article and links to reports that have previously already been proven and is actually well-known science. DNA discovery reveals genetic history of ancient Egyptians. Mummy genome data have been extracted for the first time. That's because they've removed the head of antiquities who was there for 30-something years in Egypt who wouldn't let anybody DNA test it. Remember that guy? Mummy genome data have been extracted for the first time. The mummy's closer ancient relatives were found in the Near East and Europe. Modern Egyptians have developed a greater amount of sub-Saharan DNA. Ancient Egyptians and their modern counterparts share less in common than you might think. That is, at least genetically, a team of scientists have found. Researchers at the University of, how do you pronounce that, Tübingen and the Max Planck Institute for the Science of Human History in Jena, both in Germany, have decoded the genome of ancient Egyptians for the first time with unexpected results. Really, it's just everything Plato said, everything the Egyptians said, everything the Greeks said. Published, and the thing is, everything Plato said is turning out true. Publishing its findings in Nature Communications, the study concluded that preserved remains found at Abusir el Malik, Middle Egypt, were closest genetic relatives of the Neolithic and Bronze Age populations from the Near East and Eastern Mediterranean Europeans. Modern Egyptians, by comparison, share much more DNA with sub-Saharan populations. So it was a mix of Asians and Europeans, just like you have with the Arabs and then the Babylonians up into what is ancient Iraq and then into ancient Iran. We're not getting into racist things here. This is just where the terms come from in anthropology, sociology, and archaeology. Iran means Aryan. And all that means is the Aryan people out of Europe that also founded India today. And yes, it was racist, folks. It was an upper caste of whites in India until just a few hundred years ago that ruled it. It's the same deal, same thing with Egypt. Modern Egyptians, by comparison, share much more DNA with sub-Saharan populations. The findings have turned years of theory on its head, causing Ethiopians and epidemiologists to reevaluate their region's history while unlocking new tools for scientists working in the field. Cleopatra was real, folks. And so was Mark Antony, and he was married to her, and he was a Roman, and the Roman historians said she had beautiful light brown skin. And many of the history said she had green eyes. She was obviously a mixed lady. It doesn't matter. The point is, modern history says Mark Antony married a black lady, which wasn't true, an African. It's how they try to destroy history, but the DNA then proves history was right. We'll be right back.
Obviously, President Trump has taken some video and put a CNN Mike logo on who he's beating up on. Can I just get your reaction to that?
He's wrestling with us. Look at this video from his Twitter account this morning. See that the CNN logo has been superimposed onto the other fighter's face. Now, this showed up on a Reddit message board days ago. Now it's showing up on the President of the United States' own Twitter feed.
The media is outraged at Donald Trump for encouraging violence with this tweet.
I can't believe you can defend this. I mean, really, is there no, so my question is there no line? Like, if that had been a picture not of the CNN logo or video not of the CNN logo, but it had been Jake Tapper's head he was punching, would that cross a line for you?
This is juvenile. Ridiculous.
What if it was a picture of Donald Trump holding a bloodied CNN logo up? Would that, when does it cross the line?
I think that is unacceptable. I think that is the President of the United States taking things way too far. It is an incitement to violence. He is going to get somebody killed in the media.
They have taken things way too far, and the media has gotten people shot and people killed and people beat over the head. You're the ones all running around wanting to have a war. Somebody on Reddit put out a joke video of a fake fight. You're acting like it's the end of the world, and you blackmail the person into going along with a retraction saying they're sorry, it's racist, so that you can then try to demonize the president and cover up the fact he's trying to have a recovery in this country. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take your calls throughout this hour and then into the end of the hour, and I'm going to get into the Russia, China, North Korea situation in detail, the collapse of the third world and where all that's going, and a big stack of Islamicist news that is just over the top. More cops are getting shot in the back of the head and killed, all part of the globalist operation for the summer we knew was coming. It's all part of the destabilization, intimidation, bullying operation these thugs are running. And then they sit there and act all upset and have feigned anger at how dare the president tweeting a joke video of him kicking a fictional bobblehead CNN logo's butt. And it's the Streisand effect. They've tried to intimidate everybody. They've tried to say, stop it. Now the internet is awash in these. And while we're taking some calls here for TV viewers, I'll play without audio some of those memes, both still memes and also graphic memes, detailing how CNN is trying to stomp on the head of everybody's free speech. But the answer to attempts to bully everybody into submission is to counter it. And I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, we're about a 7 with people breaking their conditioning and actually responding to attempts to silence and muzzle and stifle speech, but just intensifying it. I mean, there have been so many memes people have done of me getting beaten up or, you know, me getting my head chopped off, and I've always just made a big joke out of it. I mean, quite frankly, when you're getting made fun of, that's a good thing. I mean, look at CNN's ratings are back up. But now the memes are just absolutely, completely legion. Oh, I love that, the famous one of Muhammad Ali. I think he was fighting, was it George Foreman? And then and they just miss him over and over again. But I like CNN's recommendation. How about we actually put some real people's heads on these? Why don't we put George Soros's head on some of this? I mean, we're not wanting real violence. We're saying it's a joke. I mean, it's the Islamicists that the globalists are bringing into our country that actually kill us. But you know, you say that's okay. Well, then what about us just making jokes? I mean, now CNN's heads, CNN logos are being put on the heads of ISIS people as they chop folks' heads off. Oh, CNN is terrorist. That meme's really taken off, hasn't it? That was the brainchild of Mike Cernovich. We have the contest going. We've had 7 or 8 people get paid out on it. Most folks aren't getting on live TV. They're just getting on the internet, so it doesn't really win the prize, but it's had a huge effect. The meme's going. You're victorious. I want to pay out the other $180,000. We're not rolling in cash, but that's money well spent, $1,000 and $2,500 prizes. Again, contest at Infowars.com. Send in your videos. If you haven't been paid up yet and you think you should be, send your video in again. We have a couple guys working on it part-time. That's why I don't do a lot of contests, because they're usually very successful. This one already is, but then it's the digesting it and deciding if somebody wins and then watching it. But it isn't as successful as the Bill Clinton's a rapist deal, because Bill Clinton and Hillary were out in the campaign trail 2 or 3 times a day, folks were really destroyed them. It became a national news story. This has still been successful, but in the background, why suddenly is CNN getting called terrorists? Why are they getting called ISIS? Well, Jake Tapper and others say it's InfoWars. And that's right. I'm not even about the credit. I'm just about the meme taking place in the information war. I mean, here it is in the Associated Press today and in RT. We've been reporting this for years, been hammering it the last few weeks. Fish and Wildlife came out and said we're right. It's 84% of smallmouth bass are female or male or totally deformed and can't have babies. And now feminized fish, human contraceptives, and water supply causing males to grow eggs. And it's causing fish numbers to plummet. Now, if it's doing this to fish, imagine what it's doing to you, because most of your tap water is downstream, and the government filtration systems are not cutting it out. If you're not drinking heavily filtered water, you are insane in the membrane. Number one for my research cancer cause out there is not even cigarettes or alcohol, folks. It is the poison tap water. And I never read that or heard that when I was a kid. I remember in two-a-days, I'd drink tap water, and if I got good bottled water or took purified water from home, because my mom had a water cooler, she believed in that even back when I was a kid, she got water out of Arkansas, I would feel great. And I just learned that. I learned if I swallowed a little bit of toothpaste by accident because I was big into brushing my teeth with fluoride, I'd feel sick. My dad is a dentist. He didn't even believe fluoride was bad until about 10 years ago when I said, Dad, read the medical literature out of Canada. This is the top dentist up there that got them fluoridated 20 years ago, now 30 years ago. It's not calcium fluoride, Dad, that we have to live, a small amount of it that does make teeth stronger. It's hydrofluorosilicic acid, electrified, and it's a byproduct of aluminum smelting, nuclear weapons production, and Chinese plants as well. And they just dump it, and phosphate mines. They just dump all this toxic waste in the water, calling it fluoride. My dad did the research and goes, you're absolutely right, son. I can't believe this. How would the American Dental Association be part of this? As other dentists woke up about 7 years ago, about 3 years after my dad woke up, it was about 12 years ago he woke up, time flies. You can look it up. The American Dental Association said, stop using fluoride toothpaste for children. It causes dental fluorosis and has been linked to bone cancer. See? What are they going to do when the facts come for them? Bad boys, what you going to do when the information comes for you? So let's go to your phone calls right now, and then we'll go through all this news ahead of the amazing Paul Joseph Watson. Other than Donald Trump or Donald Trump Jr., I mean, there's no libertarian conservative as big as Watson when it comes to social media. He's king. Average video, over 1 million views, with them even trying to block him on one platform. Multiple platforms, several million. He was getting 30, 40 million views a few months ago until they started blocking it. Gets more Twitter impressions than all of the BBC's platforms combined. And they're trying to suppress him, but despite that, to see him busting through like, you know, the Schlitz malt liquor bull through the wall, I mean, it is just awesome. So he's coming up, let me see, Daredevil, Lisa, Charles, Noreen, Kyran. My eyes are not, at least be 20/20. I can't even hardly, I got to get that screen closer. Karen, Noreen, everybody, we're going to go to you. Noreen is watching us in Michigan over Facebook live feed. Remember, when you're watching us on a live feed on Facebook, YouTube, prisonplanet.tv, infowars.com/show, spread that link. It's not work, it's war, it's winning. I know you're spreading the links by hand to get around their bots and their blockers. Please keep doing it. Whether it's by email or by person, by mouth, whatever. Noreen, thank you for calling from the great state of Michigan. It's starting to see a little bit of a revival. Noreen, thanks for calling. Thank you.
Thank you.
You bet. Go ahead.
Thank you for everything that you've been through with all the threats and everything that you've got. You stick through it, and you get happy you do that, because no one else really does that. And I used to watch CNN all the time until I figured out they were fake. So I just wanted to thank you for that.
Well, Noreen, listen, you know, Limbaugh used to tell folks, just say kudos. I want you to thank me. I love the audience. I'm humbled by you. But you have to understand something. I understand the globalists want austerity and enslavement. So like a man in the water trying to get out who's drowning, I'm just instinctive here. Let me tell you something. I want to thank you for making the broadcast possible. And I want to explain something to you. You are the resistance. You're the reason people are waking up. You're the reason people are taking action. All of you out there. So just understand that. It's a pleasure to have this child molester run Vatican attack me. It's a pleasure to have evil CNN lie about me. It's an honor. Even though it's painful for my family, they understand it. I don't overall enjoy it personally sometimes, but it's got to be done. So thank you for the support. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, I really appreciate it all because it's really amazing. You know, I also got your products. I got Brain Force. That really helped me. It made me feel really smart, actually. I really liked that. I got Red on the flag. My dad's got that in his room. I got the shirt, the 2020 shirt. I have that on now. Yeah, I just really like all those products. We also got the other thing. I forgot what it's called. It's like Brain Force. It came with it.
Well, let me just say this, because the media, and then I'm going to get back to your political point, but I appreciate you supporting us. Let me explain something. The Clinton Foundation, not their new foundation that hundreds of millions stolen per month, basically, 40-something billion dollars in it last time I checked, robbing the Haitians, you name it, controlling hundreds and hundreds of other big charities that schools and colleges and, even the First Methodist Church of Austin gives people's money into. I mean, it's just a sick, evil, demonic joke. But if you expand on all of that and really pull back from it, they say in 1993 in their official White House papers, we've got to stop the new media forming. Joseph Farah and his Western Journalism Center, later became WorldNet Daily, if they ever are able to sell books or videos and fund themselves, it'll create a chain reaction of choice and a new economy. We need the big corporate sponsors to understand they've got to intensify funding of mainstream media, legacy media, and we've got to make sure that we ridicule and attack anybody that sponsors new media, not just conservative, but also liberal, or we'll lose control. So they hate the fact you buy T-shirts or water filters or great non-GMO heirloom seeds, all this stuff, great quality, competitive pricing. Because if you ever start not buying from Bezos, who's openly trying to overthrow the country, richest man in the world after Bill Gates, if you ever realize that, actually buy direct from mom and pops, local stores, support local sponsors of stations, from shopping carts like InfoWarsStore.com, you're getting products, but then allowing that profit to go to promote ideas you believe in. I mean, look, say what you want about the Muslims. They're the biggest group of giving politically of any group. That's why they're so powerful. So you're not just giving straight up. You're getting good products at good prices, and then knowing you're giving it to zealots, crazed individuals committed to an absolute war against the New World Order to the end. And so, yes, it's a total win-win. So that mere act of financially supporting us is an absolutely revolutionary act, and it allows us, see, here's the deal. 10 years ago, Noreen, 11 years ago, I had media attacking me, demonizing me, calling me a profiteer, saying it was evil that I was selling books and videos and T-shirts. And there I was with like 10 crew members under attack. I knew I could grow. I knew I could launch something 20 times bigger. And I said, I came on air. We got to find those clips. And I said, you want to call me a profiteer? You want to claim, I want to be this big fish? Watch this. And we've hit every goal by your support and by God's providence. And we're now preparing to go to the next level, which has them completely panicked, ready to kill me. By the way, they're assassinating my character in preparation for that, just like Trump. But that's okay. God will provide for my family and my children, I believe. But whatever happens, it's God's plan. I mean, so all I ask is that, some flesh be spared. So understand, folks, they want it, they got it. Their attempts to shut us down made me a humble person, give them a real run for their money. And so that's what we're doing here. But it's because of you, Noreen. That isn't me patting on the head. You, through InfoWars and other things you're doing, are changing the world. So don't thank me, thank yourself, and thank God. Go ahead, Noreen. What's your political points? I've been for Trump since, I wasn't for Trump when it first started, but after I started watching you, I was for Trump and stuff. My dad watches InfoWars as well. My dad, he's a warrior. He was in the Army. I'm going into the Army. I'm getting ready for that. My dad, they wouldn't even let him in at first, actually. It was a famous story all over the news. He walked
all the way to Washington from Michigan, and because they wouldn't let him in because they said he had a foot problem. So he walked with combat boots, and he walked straight all the way to Washington until he got stopped by a general and told that they want to take him back. So they took him back, and he got into the Army. And he went through all of that to get in. And I'm really impressed by that.
Seems I've heard of that story. That was a long time ago. But send me a news clipping about that. I'd love to have your dad on. That's awesome. Listen, I want to thank you so much for calling in. God bless you. You know, they've tried to play me off against Trump with infighting. The number one thing to stop the new media and a global movement of liberty is to always get us to want credit or to fight with each other. And Megyn Kelly was like, you know, it's been proven that you're the reason Trump won, which isn't really true. It's my audience. Our audience did push Trump over the edge. He's told me that personally many times. They know that. Stephen Bannon knows that. I'm not going to get into private conversations. It doesn't matter. Trump's now the big target. Okay, we got Trump in the position of having to lose a lot of his wealth and charge a machine gun nest. He's in there. He's not doing a perfect job. I'm surprised he's doing the job he's doing. He's under more attack than anybody since George Washington. And he's delivering. And you know a man by his enemies. It's incredible. And I've expected him to not do as good a job as he did. I just can't believe what a good job he's done. I just can't believe it. But again, there's not just evil in the world. We got the idea that corruption is just the way it is. Roll over and accept it. Thank you, last caller. All right, let's go to Daredevil in the great state of Texas. Daredevil, you're on the air.
Hi, Alex. I'm calling on a Liberty rally at the Texas State Capitol this Sunday at high noon. You know, the mayor recently said that he felt he was besieged by Texans, and he better feel like it because I'm calling on this rally to happen every Sunday at high noon until we can reestablish liberty in this country again, because I'll be darned if they keep shoving this United Nations stuff down our throat.
Yeah, for folks that don't know, I mean, I used to hear about this 25 years ago and didn't believe it myself. Under munization, Austin is a sister city. I forget with which one in Japan. I want to say Kyoto. And it's actually a UN program. And then the first city that Loretta Lynch, as Attorney General, said that was under strong cities was Austin. But then even the police chief himself didn't go along with it. I mean, they were going to have the UN over the Justice Department over Austin. I mean, we went to these meetings where they had actual Red Guard communists that call for violence at the police board meetings with the UT staff running it. I mean, these people, this is a revolution. This is a criminal takeover. And yeah, for folks that don't know, Austin is a beautiful place, best city in Texas, you know, for the size, as the great Travis County, but it is a globalist enclave now. It's very, very sad, but Texans are fighting back. Go ahead.
Exactly. And, you know, this is also a famous date. July 9th, 1776 was actually when New York adopted the Declaration of Independence. A lot of people, you know, they want to bully Trump because he's not getting things done. Their eyes aren't open. General Washington couldn't even get New York to adopt the Declaration of Independence until July 9th, 1776. So July 4th is actually July 9th in New York. Similarly, Trump's facing all sorts of similar backlash where we want Americanism, not globalism. But they construe that into, oh, well, you know, he's got money in his pocket, so he's against me. What do you think about that?
It's the instant gratification culture where Trump has gotten more done in 6 months than I ever imagined he would get done in his first year or 2 years. You know a man by his enemies. Globalism is ultra-rich that won a monopoly. Trump's exposed that. He's bringing back real prosperity. Ron Paul has agreed with his economic policies, but says it's too little too late. We're going to see what happens, but it's a lot of ignorant people being politically directed. It's folks that still believe mainstream media, people that are still in a trance, still in suspended disbelief. They're in suspended disbelief, just like when you go to a movie theater and you go into a trance. They're believing MSM. They believe Stephen Colbert. They believe they're doing the trendy thing and that everyone's against Trump and that Trump's really in the KKK. And they had invested themselves in the establishment, even though they didn't get power out of it, even though they didn't get any money out of it on average, they still had their identity in it. So they feel like losers now because the dumb hillbillies, as they see it, took control of the country. Well, it wasn't just the Midwesterners, and they're not dumb hillbillies, and it was people all over the country of every color, from every walk of life that don't want to be Venezuela or North Korea or communist Russia. And who understand that Trump's policies are basically identical to JFK's, and that's what we need for prosperity. And the Democratic Party of today has become a satanic monstrosity, basically. Go ahead.
Exactly. Trump's slowly titrating the establishment away. He's slowly decreasing their effect on us. Everything, like you say, that's inverted reality. They say that the mayor says, oh, I feel besieged, because they're the ones besieging us. They're the ones, oh, I'm moving to Austin. We're going to turn Texas blue. It's going to be so awesome. We're going to have a little...
Yeah, we're going to come to Texas and take your guns and teach your 5-year-olds how to be a tranny. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. 99% of the Earth's going to get cold off. We'll live in a bubble city. It'll be fantastic. Lord knows it's overpopulated when it's not even true. I've read figures, and you had a guest on years ago. I can't recall. It's probably around, let's say about 2008, and he spoke about how 7.5 billion people...
You put everybody in the state of Texas. Some areas are overpopulated because of their technology and what they have, but other areas aren't. The point is we always innovate our way out of crises. Thank you, Daredevil. More calls straight ahead.
On the march.
Waging war on corruption, crashing to the lies and disinformation. Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Central. Paul Joseph Watson will be hosting the 4th hour from Her Britannic Majesty's London, England. Nightly news tonight, 7 o'clock Central. Infowars.com is the news site. We've got calls like Lisa and many, many others that are patiently holding. Blake and Charles and others we're going to be getting to you. Leanne McAdoo taking a summer sabbatical to go take care of her grandmother out in Florida, also traveling some to Europe, popping in, reporting for Infowars.com. I really enjoyed having her on last week. She'll be popping on routinely and also reporting from some foreign countries for us. We're even getting her a news team set up. Leanne, when I asked you what you wanted to cover today, when I wanted to get you on, you were on the same page. I'm glad you wanted to cover this because I haven't really gotten into it yet. CNN saying, we'll expose your identity if you don't come out and retract this and say it was racist. Well, they can come out and demonize somebody they want, but they can't say, retract this, say it's racist, or we will destroy you in the news. That's called blackmail, and Paul Watson has linked in the story at Infowars.com the U.S. Code and the New York law, and Julian Assange has tweeted that they just committed the crime violating 135.60 of New York Criminal Code, coercion, terroristic threats, you name it. It's all in this report. And Julian Assange breaks it down. Leanne McAdoo, it seems like everything CNN does, they don't have the Midas touch. Everything they touch turns to oblivion.
Right. The American people are watching the mainstream media in their death spiral, asking, how deep does this chasm get? And CNN says, hold my beer, and issues this exclusive report. And I really don't think that CNN was expecting the bipartisan pushback against this style of reporting, where they've basically threatened the life of a private citizen. They're going to ruin his life unless he never posts things that are offensive again on the internet. He has to take down all of his posts that are bigoted and what they deem inappropriate. And also this paragraph in the CNN article is so chilling. They say they're not going to post his identity. They're not going to out him because he's a private citizen, and he's issued an extensive statement of apology. He took down his offending posts, and he says that he hopes his statement can serve as an example to others that they won't post anything like that on the internet either. Otherwise, CNN, they're going to go ahead and oust this private citizen who's basically throwing himself on the court, saying, please don't ruin my life. You're going to embarrass my family. I've taken it all down. Please don't ruin me. This is like the forced apology by Otto Warmbier there in North Korea. I mean, we have stepped into a Stasi gulag right now when they are saying, we are going to destroy you unless you stop offending us with your memes. Alex, this is a meme. It's a GIF. And frankly, it was President Trump wrestling at the WWE. It was a total
joke against the backdrop of leftist media financing plays where Trump's killed, every major newspaper having editorialists saying kill Trump, celebrating people that try to kill Trump. It's just insane.
Right, and they're trying to say that this GIF that the president tweeted out, retweeted, is inciting violence against journalists, and they're really trying to push this narrative. Maybe we would have taken them a little more seriously if it didn't take them 24 hours to fire Kathy Griffin for her beheading of Trump art that they labeled was art. I mean, let's not forget, this is CNN, who on Inauguration Day was wargaming what would happen if the president was assassinated. For hours, they were saying, what would happen if someone just took an aim at Donald Trump right now before he's sworn in? I mean, what would happen? This is CNN, who's now asking the American people to feel sorry for them because the president tweeted a GIF that hurt their feelings.
And Leanne McAdoo, Infowars.com reporter, analyst, we see the way Trump is very deft at not going too far. They have bloody severed heads. They say murder him. They say the guy's a hero that shot Scalise. The Democrats say hashtag hunt Republicans, on and on and on. He just puts out an old video, WWE, that somebody else made with a CNN logo. It's not Hillary's head. If the president did some video shoot with a bloody head of Hillary, I would say that's deranged, that's mentally ill. He's got problems, that's too far. But he's not the one. He responds to an avalanche, a tsunami, a storm of just war drums and calls for violence and planning violence and real violence by Antifa attacking peaceful people, and WikiLeaks exposing all this. And we know that the CNN has contact with the NSA and the deep state leakers. We know they stage the debates. We know they're in the WikiLeaks staging things with the Democrats. You know they probably got this guy's data very, very quickly from sources. So what you're seeing is deep state going after citizens to make examples of them, to scare other people from not going out and resisting this. And I don't think I've ever seen anything blow up in CNN's face bigger. Not all the fake video shoots, not all the fake news, not them having to retract. No, I mean, CNN is just melting down, and then Trump, like a judo master, is just throwing them through the wall using their own energy.
Right. I mean, they're basically, let's just sit back and watch them destroy themselves. And the American people are saying, look, enough. I mean, it would be one thing if this GIF maker was a Russian agent. Then we'd have something there, but he wasn't even a Russian agent. He's just a guy who's saying, please don't ruin my life and my family's life. But the American people are asking CNN and these other outlets, get back to your job, report the news, tell us what's going on in the world. So CNN, they're not issuing an update on Fast and Furious or IRS targeting of conservatives or Hillary Clinton's private server. That doesn't matter. They've got the exclusive. They went in and are going to unmask the identity of this private citizen.
That's right. In these videos, I'm going to play one in a moment. They are just sycophantically getting off on their power. This shows the bottom of the barrel people CNN's had to get to carry out all this lying. Why do you think every progressive month they keep recycling different reporters, bringing in new ones? The quality of the people they're bringing in is the worst I've ever seen. Local news has better people, Leanne.
Right. Well, and we know that they like anonymity. They've done tons of reporting with their anonymous sources. So it's not that they're against anonymity on the internet or wherever, but they just don't want you to be anonymous if you're doing things that they don't like. And that's what this very frightening precedent is that they are setting right now is who's a private citizen anymore? If your content goes viral, can we destroy your life? When did CNN become Gawker is my question. Back to your question, when did they become Gawker with this terrible style of reporting where they think now they're the news and all they do is report on Trump's Twitter? They don't give us any news that we actually can use. What happened?
And I don't think they understand the Streisand effect, Leanne. You've talked about that before. Why don't you explain to CNN the Streisand effect?
Because apparently they don't know. You tell someone to stop talking about something, then the internet is going to say, well, what's over there you don't want me to see? And then, of course, it's just going to get expounded, and the whole world is going to know now about what CNN is up to. So this was the wrong move. And you even are seeing a lot of never-Trumpers on the internet and other places saying, this was the bad move by CNN. You shouldn't have done this. Just ignore Trump's Twitter. You're destroying yourselves.
I've got to say, the Muhammad Ali, where he famously dodges like 7 punches, like Superman, that should be the new Trump icon and logo, because the truth is they're the ones attacking him. He's known as the counterpuncher. I know he admired Muhammad Ali and was friends with him. And the way he sits there, with his head of Muhammad Ali politically, that's what Trump's been doing. I mean, this is crazy.
Right. I've seen some really good GIFs now because, of course, nobody should post anything on the internet that makes CNN look bad. Don't do it. I'm not saying you should go out and make a very hilarious GIF.
It's like Como, Chris Como goes, you're not allowed to look at WikiLeaks. It's illegal when you do. You have to get it from us. The condescension is an 11 on a scale of 1 to 10.
Exactly. And the people are sick and tired of it, but they're in such a bubble, they're in such an ivory tower that they just don't realize that down here, the real people are laughing at them. And frankly, we're laughing at the president's tweets as well, his modern day presidential tweets. We get it. It's, we're not offended by him putting out a wrestling meme. Yeah, it's a little bit different than President Obama and his selfie sticks, but not too much different. Everyone loved when President Obama was meeting with the YouTube lady that is in a bathtub full of Cheerios or whatever. That was hilarious.
They keep saying, stop doing the Twitter, trying to get weak-minded people to think that that's his weakness when it's his strength. They obviously want him cut off from directly communicating. And again, it's a metaphor for all of us when we share a meme or an InfoWars story or a PrisonPlanet.com story or a video, because we are the tip of the spear. We're under the greatest attack. We need your support more than ever to overpower their system. Now, there's Como. Remember, blackmailing is illegal. It's different for the media, though. Somebody made a meme out of that. Paul Watson retweeted that. He's coming up in the next hour. I want to get a few calls, Leanne, and also invite you, in the next few weeks. I know you're about to spend some more time with your grandmother to host, an hour or two of these new shows we're about to launch. A lot is about to happen here in the next month at InfoWars. But expanding on this, here is the clip of CNN licking their lips, CNN New Day. This is them just 24 hours ago until they figured out that they just jumped the shark.
Participation. Okay, so another issue that came up here.
Something remarkable I thought happened yesterday. I thought it was remarkable that CNN found the Reddit user who created the GIF of Donald Trump in the wrestling video and where he punches CNN. So the investigative team went back and found the guy who first created this. He took credit for it. And then here comes the remarkable part. He apologized. Mm-hmm. He apologized for having done this. How often
to break his legs.
Do you hear someone who creates a video that goes viral then say this? This is what he told CNN.
He threatened to destroy his life.
I would like to apologize.
Unless he writes this saying he's a witch and eats babies.
Bigoted and anti-Semitic. These are the other posts that were on his account. I am in no way this kind of person. I would never support any kind of violence or actions against others simply for what they believe in, nor would I carry out any violence against anyone based upon that or support anyone who did. He went on. He was so...
But then why is there so much stuff on his account?
He deleted it.
Hey, can we put up Kim Jong-un a bunch of memes ourselves with a CNN head on Kim Jong-un and then just say, don't criticize us or else. Don't talk about the dear leader.
Also went on to say that he had
that's enough of them. Here is one more. Here's CNN losing their minds over the meme. This is really important, and we'll take some of your phone calls. Here it is.
Say where the president got the video, but a senior White House official said today it was not from Reddit, which is a popular internet messaging board. The problem is we and other media outlets who have searched can't find any evidence of it existing anywhere but Reddit.
Let's have a special prosecutor
before the president picked it up. Now, why does that matter? Because if he got it from that source, a whole bunch of new questions about racism, bigotry, and violence come into play.
Oh my gosh, it's so bigoted.
The video shared by President Trump to his 33 million personal Twitter followers and then to 19 million more on his presidential account was apparently first posted by a Reddit user who goes by this online name and who has also laid claim to it. That user of Reddit's online message board reacted.
Notice they black it out not to give the user any attention. Don't they get now the new memes have got to be in the hundreds of millions of views per hour? Don't they understand the Streisand effect again, Leanne?
Right. And everybody out there who's posting on Reddit needs to pay attention to this. They are trying to set the precedent that if you dare post anything that they don't like, they have the right now to ruin your life, whereas private citizens in the past have been protected.
But again, how did they discover? That's the real investigation. I bet my bottom dollar they got this from all their sources. I mean, listen, I've talked to Stone, I've talked to other folks off record about this. We know that mainstream media has intel on us that no one, that even my wife doesn't know. Okay? I mean, it's come out, we're wiretapped. I mean, that's been in the news. I mean, every phone I've got, it's come out. from the sheriff's department. They had access to a DEA database. We're being watched. We're being listened to. And guaranteed, they just dial up, find out who he is. That's a crime. We need to investigate CNN for the crime. They've already committed the crime, Leanne, of the coercion.
Right. Well, you know, years ago, they tried to make us all feel safe. Don't worry. If you've got nothing to hide, then you shouldn't worry about the NSA spying on you. But that was what was at issue, is that some of these NSA agents were using the tools that they had to spy on their ex-girlfriends or to post things on the internet of people they wanted to get back at.
Snowden said it was rampant. He said most people were doing it.
Right. And so now where's CNN getting this information? Now, I'll give them a little bit of credit because they hired this writer, Andrew Kaczynski from BuzzFeed, and he was very, very, very good at finding obscure things on the internet and being basically opposition research. So, of course, CNN scooped him up. He created this whole new K-file sector of CNN. So he might really have been able to dig in and find out who's on this Reddit, but yeah, this is also very much
CNN's been given NSA and CIA data illegally before to be used in the campaign and against private citizens. We know all about Seth Rich.
Right, and they're trying to make the argument that Trump is attacking the independent media, even though we know they're not independent at all. They colluded with the DNC. I mean, they didn't even do this type of investigation into all the memes that were attacking their dear leader, Hillary Clinton. Imagine if they would have outed all the memesters and the giftsters back then when they were destroying Hillary Clinton. They didn't even go. It was when it went too far and embarrassed CNN. That's when they, you know, really had to expose this private citizen or issue this blanket warning to anyone who would dare. Let this serve as a warning to you.
Here's the takeaway for me, and then I'm going to take a call and get your take on this, Leanne. The intimidation and bullying isn't working. It's like when Hitler goes, oh, the Brits aren't giving up. Let's start bombing the towns that have been designated for the orphans and kids being evacuated, you know, out of the cities. So when Hitler started targeting the kids, and of course the Brits started targeting Dresden and the German kids as well, it did not make the Brits went from not wanting the war to wanting to kill everybody. So I don't understand this thing where these bullies think they mess with us. It makes us back down. It just gives me energy, Leanne. It just makes me want to take action.
Absolutely. People need to start posting more GIFs and memes now to let them see, look, you're not going to, CNN, first of all, is not going to control free speech on the internet or anywhere else. You're not going to be the gatekeepers. And that's what they're so afraid of, is that they are no longer the gatekeepers and that it is the wild, wild west on the internet. And that's why they are trying to now change the precedent of who is a private citizen. When are we allowed to ruin their lives?
I'm not saying I'm the greatest catch in the world or anything. But the few times I had a girlfriend that I was finally done with, and a few that live with me, or vice versa, as soon as you start packing your stuff up and leaving, they try to physically stop you. I know it's statistically worse for women as well. That's when they panic and get violent and try to keep from going. This is like an abusive relationship. They don't want us to go out the door. They won't let us leave them. So they're terrorizing the country to make themselves pertinent, knowing that no one would be watching them if they weren't saying kill the president, kill congressman, do all this. Then when we respond lightly back, they throw a hissy fit. But let me manipulate the meme here. I do not want to be in memes. I do not want to be in these comedy memes. Do not put me in memes. Everyone is banned for putting me in a meme. And I do not want to have my head put on Trump's head battling CNN. No one is allowed to put me in memes because, quite frankly, Trump is the #1 meme right now. I'm only number 2. Okay, and I am competitive. Make fun of me, whatever. Please put me in memes. Oh, excuse me. I mean, never, never. You are hereby ordered. Like CNN said, we'll have you arrested. I'll sue you. You have no free speech. Put me in no memes and have no Infowars.com involved in it ever. We're back live. A little segment left with one more after that. And then Paul Watson at 8 after comes in. We're going to be changing the clock soon to the regular clock. We come in at 6 after. So everybody knows more stations want that. Got like almost 40 stations saying, do that. We'll pick you up. So I want to go way over 250 stations. So we're going to do that very soon with the great folks at GCM. We've got to get all that lined up. Leanne McAdoo is joining us. Guess what? Paul Watson's tweeted about it. We checked it. It's true. The top hashtag, off and on throughout the day, it's been the top 10. Hashtag CNN blackmail was at the top. And so everybody was seeing it. Well, it's been removed by the people at Twitter. Well, good luck. How about hashtag CNN blackmailed censored? Just everybody write about the blackmail, write about their corruption, write about their evil. Give them what they want. hammer them and never stop. That's how they operate, ladies and gentlemen. Leanne McAdoo, I don't see this going well for them, and you can see this trend. I mean, I don't put a good face on things. You know, years ago, you'd criticize me to my face saying, got to be more positive. That's how we're going to fix things. But now I'm more positive because the worm is turning. What do you think?
I kind of agree. I mean, look at this huge smile on my face. We are still battling them, but it's interesting to see that we're landing some of our punches finally. It's really interesting to watch. Going back to talking about the gatekeepers, though, you can see with them taking down the trending hashtag, Twitter is, of course, trying to be the gatekeeper as well. They're not independent platform anymore. Now you see the worldwide top trend is something with the Kardashians, of course. It's the whole bread and circus.
They always force that back on you. No, you're not going to have free speech. Here's Kardashians.
Exactly. That's their go-to bread and circuses right now in our present day and age. But I want people to kind of get back to see, oh, stop talking about CNN. Who cares? If they don't matter, you know, who cares? The reason why this matters is because they are trying to make the argument of when we shouldn't have any more online anonymity. So we have Cuomo saying
that's
this.
Internet ID. They want us on there so that they can, exactly.
And we've talked about this before. They want to do that 3 strikes you're out rule where you can never access the internet anymore with your identity.
That's what China wants, and that's what Soros wants, is this new social network deal where you have no anonymity, and then everything you do on the internet and outside is on a social score.
Exactly. And this is the conversation CNN is using to justify outing a private citizen, because they looked and he also had some anti-Semitic memes and things on his Reddit page.
Yeah,
I don't know.
They call criticizing the Federal Reserve, they call me anti-Semitic. They just make that up. Let's take a call here from Matt, then Lisa. Matt, thanks for holding. You're on from the great state of Texas with Leanne McAdoo.
Well, thanks for having me, and good to see you back, Leanne. I want to start where I woke up. I was in Amsterdam waiting for my plane to go to London in 2012. And I was watching the commentary about the presidential election. Mind you, this is in a foreign country. And they told me on their screen that Ron Paul was in second place. Whenever I left, Rick Santorum and what was the other guy's name? Mitt Romney and then Barack Obama were the 3 front runners. Didn't say anything about Ron Paul. Well, over there they said Ron Paul was in second place, and that was my first realization that the media was actually lying to us. And then whenever I came back, I'm a chef by trade, and I was introduced to some people that wanted me to participate in a dinner for Cuisine for Healing. They gave me a list of criteria to meet, and it scared me because I gave the list to a large food service purveyor, and they have 20,000 items in stock, and only 60 met the criteria. The criteria was no GMOs, no hormones, no antibiotics, no pesticides, no insecticides.
And let me guess, this dinner was for elites.
No, actually, it was a benefit for cancer survivors, because a lady created it because she had terminal cancer. It didn't actually help her live longer, but it actually increased the quality of life while she was here. And that sent me.
Hold on, Matt. I'm going to come back in 70 seconds to have you briefly finish up. Then Lisa, then at least Charles. Then Paul Watson's coming up. He's in the bullpen. He's ready. Champion Paul Watson straight ahead. More of Leanne McAdoo straight ahead.